Hi, my name is Miley, your Miss Northeast Junior High United States 2021, and this is More Than a Birthmark. Welcome to More Than a Birthmark, the web series featuring individuals with birthmarks to raise awareness and share some fun facts about this amazing community. My name is Miley, and today I am joined by another amazing international guest from South Africa, Kirstin Mealing. Thanks so much for joining me today, Kirstin. Before I begin, I want all our viewers to know that, like me, Kirstin has Klippel-Trenaunay syndrome, or KTS. As a reminder, this condition is very rare in that only 1 in 100,000 individuals worldwide have KTS. You are not going to see my birthmark or Kirstin's birthmark in this video because KTS is usually limited to the arm or a leg. KTS is identified by a large port wine stain birthmark that covers the entire extremity and overgrowth of veins that can become varicose and painful, and swelling and overgrowth of the affected limb. It is great to meet another person with the same condition, and I am so glad you agreed to speak with me today, Kirstin.
Thank you for having me.
So, as I mentioned earlier, Kirstin lives in South Africa. I have to admit, I don't know much about South Africa, and I fantasize that you live there. For myself and our viewers, can you tell us a little bit about Somerset West? I think I said that right.
Yes. So Somerset West is not exactly in Cape Town itself. It's about a 30-minute drive outside of Cape Town. I would say it's not small, but it's not entirely big. It's a very homey feel. We live literally at the bottom of the Helderberg Mountain, and we are surrounded by, they call it the Helderberg Basin because we have these mountains that cover us. We also have an ocean very, very close to us too. So we have a good variety of things, that nature has to offer. And it's really nice and warm, usually most of the year. Even in winter. Winters lately haven't really been too cold. So yeah, that in a nutshell.
Sounds really nice. So were you born in South Africa or did you move there?
So I was born in South Africa and I've lived here for 24 years. I've never moved.
If someone wanted to visit Cape Town, what would be some fun or scenic places you would recommend they visit?
First thing I would do is just get the big wonder out the way. So go on a trip up Table Mountain. Then you get like this panoramic view of Cape Town itself. You can see, I think it's the Hout Bay side, you get the front of Cape Town, you get a little bit more of, I won't say you can see Somerset West from there, but you get a bit of it in the distance. And then try and be as touristy by doing a lot of the activities. And that's kayaking, going to see the dolphins, going to the beaches. We have beautiful beaches this side, and there's multiple. So there's not just one. You've got a huge variety to choose from.
I kind of want to go there, not even gonna lie. I mean, for us to get to a beach where I live, we have to drive like 3 to 4 hours. So yeah, it's not easy to get to one. And I mean, it's not really scenic here either because we have a few woods, but that sounds really gorgeous. So
well, if you find yourself this side, I would be happy to show you around.
I would love that. So as I mentioned earlier, you have Klippel-Trenaunay syndrome, just like me. Your KTS is in your leg. However, your condition affects your left leg, whereas mine is in my right leg. From your description of the port wine stain you have as part of your KTS, it is quite extensive. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about your birthmark and any other symptoms you have related to your KTS?
So my birthmark is basically from my shin all the way up to my thigh, the outer thigh and the inner thigh. I never used to see it as a medical problem until the age of 17, because I'm very involved in sport. So a lot of the time, my leg would have like this itching, burning sensation where I couldn't sleep. I was scratching my leg the whole time. I was not comfortable. I was crying because like my muscles are sore, only in this particular area. So I just thought it was really weird. And then I just said to my mom, like, we need to go see someone because I cannot carry on like this. I'm not one that really likes taking painkillers and things to, make me feel a bit more comfortable. So I said to her, I need to find the best possible solution to help me here medically, and maybe there is something internally going or happening in my birthmark. So that's when we went to visit the surgeon, and he told me that this is what I have, and this is what I struggle with, and this is the condition that I will have for the rest of my life. So that was the first encounter when I was 17 of Klippel-Trenaunay syndrome.
That's crazy. I mean, I can tell you that my leg has definitely itched before, especially my ankle area, because I think there's like, I don't know, it seems like there's like a lot of veins like in that area, but I don't think it's ever been that bad when it comes to itching, and I'm really sorry to hear that. But I'm really happy to know that you did get diagnosed and you didn't live life not knowing what it was, because I know some people have told me like I didn't get to see a doctor until I was like 30, maybe even like 50, 60, and well, I just like lagged for a second. Anyway, um, but I've never seen that before, and so I just think um, I don't even know what I was going for with this, but I'm really happy that you were diagnosed.
I'm as well. I recently met someone who's now 26, and he has it in his face and his neck that goes down to his arm.
Right.
And I said to him, I was like, have you ever seen someone? And he says, no, just his regular doctor. And then I actually said, look, I'm going to refer you to my surgeon. Go have it checked out, because, maybe he's, just the usual regular birthmark guy that has a birthmark. But so many of us don't actually know that there's a problem lying within.
Right, and it's good to definitely check it out and to see
Yeah.
if there's something more to it, because there could be long-term effects and short-term effects. So, throughout my life, I've been told by several doctors that there was little to no benefit to laser treatments in my case. Since my birthmark is on my leg, even if the laser would lighten the port wine stain, it would just come back with the pull of gravity. You mentioned some pretty traumatic experiences with laser treatments when you were 6. Did you actually have the treatments? And if so, did they work?
So I just remember arriving I don't know where we were, but I just remember walking into the elevator and then walking into this very scary room. Just like a lot of memories, you try and you either remember these traumatic experiences or you learn to block them out. I think I blocked this one out, and I just remember like these slight things. I was in this very scary room, and this doctor was like leaning over me, checking my leg, like what exactly how severe is it, and things like that. And I didn't actually know why we were there, why my parents sent or were with me there. And then I just remember my mom says, they're going to make you better and things like this. And sorry, there's a fly.
Okay.
And then when she mentioned to me that it's laser treatment, I've been watching movies and you see like these laser pointers and they like burn things, or they burn like holes through you and things. And I just said, no, thank you. This is not happening. I was screaming, crying. They were trying to hold me down. And I just said to my mom, I was like, I do not want to do this. So the whole reason we went was actually to see if we could do a small portion of the birthmark and see if that would lighten. And obviously I didn't go through with it, so I never knew if it would actually help me or not. So no, I didn't have it done. I didn't look into it again because I just remember that traumatic experience. And also the doctor wasn't really nice. So that was where my fear of doctors actually began.
I just want to say right now that I have a fear of doctors too. Okay. And this wasn't one from like when I was like really young, but like literally like this past year I got blood work done, and it wasn't a child one. It was, I guess like a regular like adult hospital. I don't think they
Okay.
really knew how to work with kids. And I
Yes.
thought I was pretty brave about getting blood work done. So I was like, okay, go ahead. And next thing you know, I pass out. Really traumatic. Mm. And like I can even like just remember it. Like I don't block it out, but I remember it and it was terrifying. I just have to say that now. But yeah, I've never really tried the laser treatment, so I don't know. I'm pretty sure it'd be terrifying too. So
Yes.
yeah.
I'm sorry you had to go through that. I have a fear of needles and things. So
Yeah, I'm sorry you had to go through that because that sounds we're together on this, sister. I mean, come on. So to remove your varicose veins from your KTS, you had 4 surgeries. You mentioned that the most recent ones were very difficult. Would you like to share with our viewers some of what you went through?
so the first operation or the first surgery that I had went perfectly. I went in there like a champion. I was feeling good about myself. I was like, this doctor's going to help me. I'm not going to feel all the pain anymore and things like that. So it really made me feel good about myself. And when I left, I was like, you know what? I could do this again. This would be a walk in the park. I'm on crutches for about a week and a half. You know, I've got to wear my stocking. It's easy peasy. Then my second operation, I can't explain it. I don't know if it was like just the whole experience or it was the hospital I was in. I don't know if it was just, it just seemed I got the worst luck that day. Um, I went in for the surgery. I came out and I was so nauseous. I didn't even want to, I just wanted to sleep because that was the only way I was going to feel better. And they actually had put the bandages on my leg too tight. And a lot of the nurses weren't actually communicating with me about what I could do post surgery, if I could stand up on my leg, because obviously if you put pressure on your leg, you bleed through your stitches and your cuts and things like that. And I didn't know this. They weren't communicating with me at all. And I needed to go to the bathroom. I mean, you've pumped with anesthetic and you haven't really been taking liquids in at all, and you're on this IV drip the whole time. I stood up and I was just bleeding through the stitches in my knee. And it was so traumatizing because you're sitting there in a pool of your own blood. And I mean, they weren't really compassionate towards this happening, especially since that was the first time that had happened to me. My mom was in a panic state because no one's told us what's going to happen. And then they just kind of laughed at us, like, you know, it's something like that's what we should have expected. So I'm already so shocked and so weak internally, and now, you know, I'm trying to keep myself mentally strong, but when that happened, I was like, no, I just, this is not nice. And then I left the hospital, and about 2 weeks later I had this horrible red line up my thigh, my inner thigh. And Dr. Google told me that this is a blood clot immediately. And when a blood clot is in that area, it usually goes to your groin. And then if it goes to your groin, it shoots to your heart, leading to a stroke. And I remember it was so traumatizing because I did everything that I was told to do. After that, I was wearing my stocking. I was keeping my leg up when I sleep. I was on crutches. There was no pressure. And yeah, so then I phoned the doctor as like an emergency consult, and they put me on blood thinners because they said that the blood clot was 5 centimeters away from my groin. So if I had left it, I probably would have had a stroke at the age of 20, which is extremely scary because that shouldn't happen at all.
Right.
And then just after that, I've just been in so much pain, but I didn't want to go and have these surgeries done because I was like, this is going to happen again. I have to go to the same hospital because here in South Africa, we don't really have that many vascular surgeons who specialize in these surgeries and treatments. So, you know, I didn't really have a choice to go back. And I was there again, and I was terrified. And I just wanted to get it over and done with. So every time it has been a similar situation, and I've had to learn by myself through those experiences what to expect and what to do next. So unfortunately, I feel like it is the medical team that have put this negative, shadow over my experiences and things. But unfortunately, that is the case. So I don't really have a positive hospital experience.
Yeah, I'm really sorry to hear that. And honestly, I am so grateful for the team that I have down here because a lot of people cannot access people like that. And that's another reason that we need to spread awareness because there's people over the world that can't find treatments or they're struggling with the people that are giving them the treatments. And so, honestly, if I was in your position too, I would be really scared about going back to the hospital. Um, Now, my question, like, when they gave you anesthesia, because everybody gets anesthesia like differently, did they give you like the mask?
I remember they put it in my arm. I remember the first time I had to put my arm out, and then the anesthesiologist said, "You're going to feel a little bit like milky. It's almost like there's just white fade taking over." But I remember they did put a mask on a few times. I think it's just so that I don't know, but I know that they put the mask. I think that's maybe the oxygen mask.
Right.
So I think I got the injection.
Yeah, because there's like different things that they can do to like put you to sleep. I every time, well, I've only had two surgeries, but both times they gave me the mask, and I do not like it. Let me just tell you that. Like, I mean, like my ears, like I felt like the voices got really loud for a second, and I just started
Yeah.
seeing stars, and I was like, whoa, okay. But the first time I don't remember completely. I just remember kind of like seeing stars. It was very like fast. I think the second time it took a little bit longer. So I was just like breathing in the anesthesia, go to bed. Like I don't want to like be like this. So
You don't have to deal with it for too long.
right. And I'm just like, ah. And I know my first surgery I came out really nauseous and I actually threw up because I was under for like 8 hours.
Oh
The
my
second time
goodness.
it was only like maybe like 2 or 3. So yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah. Second. I love how honest you are about the challenges growing up with birthmarks. I think it's really important that our viewers understand. Oh wait, it's a birthmark. Sorry. How difficult it can be part of society that focuses on certain standards of physical beauty when you have a chronic medical condition that will prevent you from meeting that standard. Would you mind telling us how your birthmark made you feel insecure, particularly in your teenage years?
Well, as I mentioned, I found it really difficult because, when you go to high school, you're kind of looking at boys and you starting to really grow into your skin and you're finding what you enjoy. Do you enjoy, you know, like dresses? Do you enjoy just wearing jeans and a t-shirt that I used to do when I was little because I was the biggest tomboy? And I became a very big girly girl in high school. I used to love makeup. I used to love doing my hair. I used to love wearing color and dresses. I love dresses. You will always find me in a dress. And it just became very difficult because I remember in primary school, I think it's elementary school for you guys. Do you call that elementary school? I think that before high school.
Oh wait, no, that'll be middle school, wouldn't it?
It's a middle school. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, in middle school, we have primary school. So for us, we had to wear like skirts. So it's the skirts with the shorts underneath. And I remember people, or even girls, this is a big thing. A girl came up to me and she was like, "Oh my goodness, were you in a fire?" And I was like, "Yes." Because for a moment I was like, "Oh my word, I don't want to have to explain myself," because a lot of people either then go like, "Oh, it's a birthmark, like birthmark shouldn't look that way." And like I said, it's easier to accept something traumatic that's happened to someone instead of something you were born with. And going into high school, it was very difficult to accept myself or understand that somebody else, even if it's a friend or someone you potentially like, it is difficult for you to see yourself through their eyes. And a lot of the time they are accepting you, but it's difficult because you are judging yourself before they've even said anything, before you've even introduced yourself. You think to yourself, oh, they won't like me because I don't look a certain way, or, like my leg is purple instead of normal, my normal skin tone. And it's just little things like that. And then I just said, you know what, at the end of the day, I can only please myself. I can't please everyone around me. I can't live life that way.
Right. And you shouldn't have to do that because honestly, like, if someone truly wants to be friends with you, they will be understanding about it. They aren't gonna, constantly talk about it. They'll just be there for you like all the time because it's really about how you are on the inside. And honestly, I've had multiple experiences with like different friend groups and all of that. And I can tell you that the people that are there for you the most are the people that you should definitely stick with. And you
Yes.
don't want them, constantly bringing it up or, being like, oh, like, why are you wearing that today? Like your birthmark's kind of showing there,
Yeah.
man. Like I mean,
If it doesn't look
it's
okay.
part of me. Like it's who I
Yeah.
am, and I'm not gonna like try to change that just because like you don't like it.
Yes.
So, when I spoke to Taylor, who also has KTS, she mentioned how she always wanted to wear high boots or certain jeans, and could not because her leg was bigger than her other. I know I have the
Yes.
same issue at times. You mentioned how you have felt insecure wearing skirts and dresses because your birthmark is visible and can lead to comments and stares. Can you talk about how you have grown to become more confident and overcome these insecurities?
I definitely cannot pinpoint where I overcame my insecurities, but I know that even going to go buy long pants or jeans, it was so difficult because like, or you understand everything in that part of the birthmark is larger than your other leg. So you might find a really good pair of pants and you put your right, well, for maybe you, it's your left leg first, and you're like, oh, this is going to look good. And then you put your other leg in and you're just like, well, this is awkward because now I've got to like wiggle back out.
Yeah.
So I used to just go for like the wider pants, like these flare pants, and I still wear them. But even now, like I'm a lot more comfortable now. So I wear shorts, I wear skirts, I wear dresses, anything. But back then, I was always forever going to look for pants, and when I found a pair of pants or a long dress, that was the only thing that I wore the whole time. And it's difficult. It really is difficult. And you always want to look pretty. You can go to a birthday party and everyone's all dolled up and you just there in your black pants. Everyone's wearing a pink dress or a green dress and you wish that could be you, but unfortunately that is not the case.
Right. And not only that, but I don't know if you struggle with the shoe size thing, but some of my shoes, I realized that like I put a bigger size for my right foot and then a
Yes.
smaller size for my other foot. And it's usually just like a half size up, like it isn't that big of a change, but it's just
Yeah.
even that can like make you upset because you're like, why can't I just fit into the same shoe pair? Why do I have to get, another pair so it fits me like really well? And that's the same with pants, especially like you were saying, like jeans. I feel like this side, like it'll be like really nice and loose and like, there'll be some room, kind of like the mom jean like trend or whatever that's like going on. And then on the other side, they're like skinny jeans, and you're like, come on now, like be the same. Come on, you know what I mean?
And then you just feel awkward because you know what's happening. Not like everyone else can see it, but I mean, like I said, like you know what's going on in your body. So you already perceiving yourself through someone else's eyes. And if you notice something on yourself, then you think someone else is going to notice that as well.
Exactly, and and if they don't know that you have like that condition and you have that birthmark going on, and that's why your leg is bigger, then be like, why is she like one side like tight on her and the other side isn't? Like, what's going on there? You know what I
Yes.
mean? So some of the bullying you have been through has been pretty terrible. You mentioned that growing up, it is easier to agree with people than ask them if they were in a fire. And you had a boyfriend once who called you the girl with moss on her leg. Now that you are older, as someone who has been a victim of bullying, what advice would you give someone my age or younger to deal with these situations?
I definitely would say stand up for yourself. I wish someone told me that when I was younger. And I believe now that you should never alter yourself for someone else's needs and, to fit their persona. I It's difficult because also like now social media is such a big thing, and I mean we never would have come into contact if it wasn't for Instagram. And back then it wasn't always like that. So I was very alone and I was very scared to tell people, you know what, I am my leg does hurt. Sometimes I cannot participate because this is something's wrong, and I don't necessarily want to go and tell people that I have a problem, I'm a problem child, because then they'll be like, oh, you know, this and that and whatever. And they don't necessarily feel sorry for you. Not that I would want people to feel sorry for me, but they are very quick to judge you in a very, very harsh way. Just like, it wasn't exactly my boyfriend who said that I have moss on my leg. It was his best friend. So
Oh,
I remember I was at his birthday party, and then I can't remember what exactly happened, but I was sitting there and then they were trying to explain to him or this other person who I was, and they were like, yeah, that girl there with moss on her leg. And that was a big point in my life where I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna allow someone to tell me about me. I'm not gonna allow someone to speak harshly about me. And I actually turned around and I said, if you have a problem with me, you can say it to my face, or try and understand someone's story before you make up a story, because that's where people get lost in translation. So I definitely, the biggest thing is I would encourage younger kids with birthmarks, or even just any insecurity or if a bully, anything, you need to stand up for yourself. Even if standing up for yourself could be removing yourself from that toxic environment. It can be saying, you know what, you shouldn't speak about me that way, or you shouldn't speak up or speak about my friend that way. It's standing up for yourself or standing up for someone else is in so many different forms.
exactly. And that hit hard so hard. Like, I mean, if I were in that position too, I think I would have definitely said the same thing because people should not do that, talk about you like that, especially like right behind your back. Like, then say it to me. Like, don't, you know what I mean? And I've been in that position multiple times, and not just with like because of my birthmark, but just in general. So I'm really happy that you did stand up for yourself. And I agree, stand up for yourself if someone is saying something like that. And especially, as she said, remove yourself from that toxic environment because why would you keep living it? Why would you keep being there and letting them, build you down every day or, even that friend group? Because I've been there and I'm just really sorry to hear that because people should never treat you that way. And I think that your birthmark is beautiful. And if they have a problem with it, they can also come to me, okay?
Well,
Um,
when you come visit, we'll sort them out together.
yes. So, one interesting topic you brought up in your questionnaire was the social stigmas, myths, and superstitions in other cultures related to children born with birthmarks. Can you talk a little bit about these culture differences?
So I haven't really read too much into it. Otherwise, I get too involved and I know I shouldn't. But I know that in some cultures, they actually believe that a child that's born with a birthmark is actually it's a cursed baby, or the mother had done something wrong in her youth and now she's being cursed for that. And they actually don't accept the child, and they actually frown upon that the mother can continue being a part of that family, like a family member. So I think it's very crazy because I could not imagine if, they like, say now, for example, my grandparents had to turn around and say to my mom, you cannot be a part of the family anymore because you did something back in the day, and now your child has to live with the consequences. Or even just if they had to push me aside, and say, there's something wrong with your child. She's bringing bad energy into people's lives, that kind of issue. I just think it's very, very scary how that actually does happen.
Right. And honestly, I think my mom is one of my biggest supporters. Like, she's been there for me like my whole life. She's been taking me to the doctor. She has to take off work. She drives me all the way into Philly, which is, I mean, for some people that's like not bad because some people have to like go really far to get to a doctor. But it's like, I don't know, like 2 hours. No, maybe not. Like, yeah, 2 hours I would say. But it's still
I
like
would say
a
that's
lot.
still
And
very far.
yeah, obviously if they thought that like you know it was something that she did, they'd be like, no, you can't help her with that. She's cursed, all of that. So that'd be really rough. And I'm glad my mom doesn't think that or
I just think it's very sad because also I remember my mom told me a while back, or actually recently, it was last year sometime, and she said that she actually felt so guilty because she thought that she had done something wrong in her pregnancy for me to be born this way. And she had sleepless nights because, she was like, there's something wrong with my baby. Is it me? Is it genetic? Because birthmarks, they don't actually have, there's no scientific reason why birthmarks occur, why people have them.
yeah.
It's just, that is still being researched and studied. And hopefully they find a reason why. Um, but I know that my mom felt really guilty. And my mom was young when she had me. So she was really worried. She was really concerned for her baby girl. So I couldn't imagine if my mom had to be in that situation. And I mean, she's also been my rock in this entire process. Um, she was the one that did all the research to find a surgeon that's actually going to help me. And when I've had problems, then she's the one phoning the doctor to find treatments or home remedies to help me and relieve the pain. So yeah, it's just unfortunate that out there are certain people and cultures that frown upon these birthmarks.
Right. And just to any mom out there, if you're listening and your kid has a birthmark, it's nothing that you did. It was absolutely nothing that you did. All you have to do is be the best mother that you can, help them through it. But I know because my doctor has personally told me it was nothing that my father did, it was nothing that my mother did. It's just how I was born. And, like you said, right now we don't really know exactly why some people just come out with like a birthmark or they come out with the condition. Um, so yeah. Um, Now I'd like to shift gears and talk a little about beyond your birthmark, if that's okay. You are a qualified primary school teacher. I think in the United States that would translate to an elementary school teacher, but after you said it's after high school, I think it'd be middle school then. How long have you been teaching and what grade do you teach?
So at the moment, I'm not teaching a class or any school specifically, because I am planning on going to teach English in China very soon. So at the moment, I don't want to really get caught up at a school where I'm not going to be permanently there at the time, because that would make me look a little bit unprofessional.
Right.
But I am working at a high school. I am helping teachers. I am doing lesson planning. I'm also doing tutoring on the side. So yeah, primary school, that is the ages between 10 years old and 14 years old. So
So that'd be middle school, yeah.
middle school, okay. So I then specialize in mathematics, English, natural science, technology, life orientation, all the subjects. We don't really have a specific subject that you specialize in. But hopefully when I get back from China, I really would love to teach fifth grade. They have always been my favorite group of kids. That age just, it's like that age where they're learning to kind of be on their own, and then also learning almost like the independence, but they still need you and the support and some guidance. But they almost have this sarcastic personality that's coming out, and they're learning, do they enjoy it or do they not?
Right.
So yeah.
and they're young, so like they still, do like all the fun stuff. They're not like, oh, this is kiddish, but they're
Yeah,
not too young where like there's no focus. You have to be like, come here, you have to sit down, you have to learn now. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
exactly.
So it's definitely like a good grade. There's like the in between, and I
Yes.
know like definitely after like I become, too old to be able to be a performer because, after a certain age, you can't really do that anymore. I definitely would like to try to be a teacher. So yeah, and fifth grade, I should I should try that. So wait, hold on a second. Sorry, fifth grade is in your middle school.
Yes.
Okay, because I have a lot of people tell me, why is fifth grade in your middle school? And I'm like, thought it was supposed to be, isn't it? And they're like, no, it starts at sixth grade. I'm like, what? Not at my school. So
No.
we're not the only one. I know that now. Um, what is your favorite part about being a teacher?
I think you kind of learn a lot about yourself as well. Despite, you know, the hard times, there are extremely a lot of good times. But for me, you learn so much about yourself. I mean, I was never a patient person growing up. I'm very hard headed. I won't say I'm, you know, aggressive, but that more hard headed, like you get irritated quickly and you just, everything, it's just frustration all around. And when I started studying teaching, I learned that, you have to have patience. Every single day there was like a test. I remember I would be behind a slow driver and I'm like, Kirsten, there's a reason you stuck behind this guy. There's a reason he's driving slowly because you need to learn this one day to help children. You have to look at them when they're irritating you so much. You actually have to look at them and say, calm yourself down, talk to the child, and just, you know, understand where they're coming from. Because you have to be creative and you have to understand or want to teach, and they want to learn how they learn. So you need to learn or understand how they learn. But for me, it's like a friendship thing. A lot of the rewarding is when a child looks at you more as a friend. I remember in my second year of university, I was at a school in Cape Town. I was doing my student teaching practical. And this kid, he could not speak, well, he could speak English, but because he was on a learnership program and he was struggling to speak. And I remember he was writing in one class, he was very distracted and he had a dictionary and a little piece of paper. And he was busy like direct translating from a dictionary from his home language to now his second language, which is English. And he was actually writing me a farewell letter. And it said, thank you for being my friend and helping me in maths. And then for me in that moment, it was it was just the biggest moment that I accepted that this is where I need to be and I need to be working with children. So it's very rewarding. Just these little things. You don't need to see good grades. You don't need to see them accomplish big things. It's the small things, where they learn how to greet you properly, how they learn to grow out of their shell, out of their comfort zone, doing things that they would never do. And that's through encouragement and you inspiring them to do that. So that's the biggest thing for me.
Right. And um actually I kind of have like a similar experience. I'm not a teacher. You probably could tell because I'm a little young for that. But I know when I was going in and reading Buddy Booby's Birthmark to different grades, I actually had one particular class. I think it was a kindergarten class or maybe a first grade class, not sure. But they were like, "Don't leave, don't leave." They're like, "Are you coming back? Are we gonna hang out?" Like all this, and I'm just like, it hurts so bad to leave because like they were so attached to me and they wanted me to stay and like be their friend and like be them with be there with them. And I was like, I have to go, I'm really sorry, you know what I mean? I'm like, ah. But it was such like, it was a really good feeling for me, like personally, because I was like, well, they must have really liked me if they want to like, see me again and like be my friend and stuff like that. So now, I was like, I feel bad, but maybe I'll see them again someday, you know what I mean? They'll be like, oh, wait, are you the girl that read to me? I mean, they may not remember because they were like kindergartners, but you never know. So I happen to notice that you call yourself a creative person. I also consider myself very creative. Tell me about some of the creative things you like to do in your free time.
Well, you mentioned that you are a performer. I was about to say we actually have a lot in common. I was actually a dancer until the age of 16. So I was, I really wanted to express myself in a way of movement when I was younger. I would have loved to be or have been a backup dancer for a singer, a big performer. I would have loved to be a part of, the big playhouse dramas, the theater, I would love to be in the background doing my things, shaking my thing. But yeah, I love anything to do with color, just expressing yourself and like how you feel. I love technology, but like the more creative side of technology. So that's graphic design. I love creating. I've done a few websites for a friend or two. I've done a few of my blogs that never really progressed into anything, but I just love creating them, not putting anything onto them, but just, designing a website. I love doing that. I love drawing. I love coloring in. I love doing calligraphy. So when you see my study notes, you will see my highlighters are everywhere. There's just color. I've got pastel, I've got bright colors, I've got like the more darker colors, I've got like every color pencil. I'm always drawing pictures in my study notes, trying to create like an image in my head to kind of get a point across and help me learn. So yeah, I also like to think outside the box sometimes. So if I would listen to a song, I could already imagine the music video in my head. If I read a book, I can, create like the cover of the book in my head or things like that. So I'm always thinking of something. So
I think you're secretly my long lost sister and we just don't know. That is exactly how I would say like to myself, like, wow, sorry, that's just crazy. Like reading books, I can like image it. It's like crazy. And I like I can almost like play the story through my head. Like I'm watching it. I don't even know. Maybe that's why it takes me longer to read. I don't know. Cause like
I also find it very long to read. I take my time.
yeah, like I like read for like I'll read like an hour and I'll only get like through like I don't even know how many pages. And it's not like I'm not focusing and like I'm not reading. It's I'm into it. I'm reading the words. It's just taking me a long time.
Yes.
But I mean, that's just so accurate. And like the music video thing, I do that too. And then when I see the video and if it's like not as good as I expected, and I'm like, well, I could have made this video and I
They
could
should
have
have
made
hired
it
me
better.
instead.
Yeah, like I could have been the director here because this is not what I thought.
That's exactly how I feel.
Yeah. Like I know one of my songs, I forget what it's called. Like I expected it to be like a total different storyline in like the video and it wasn't and I was like, really? Because I thought it was like gonna be a little different and I'm kind of confused here, but you know what I mean?
A
So
lot of the time I'm disappointed.
right, I'm like, this isn't that good. Like this is such a good song. We could have had a better video. Like what is going on here?
I
So
think the exact same thing.
right. So if you had a magical superpower, what would it be and why? Because I ask literally everyone I know this.
Oh, I've actually thought about this a few times, but I never really come up with an answer because, I don't know. Because then I like watch superhero movies and then I think to myself, okay, Superman can fly, that'd be cool, but I don't really like that. And then you could do invisibility, but I don't really want that because I don't really want to be like, it's almost like being a fly on the wall, then you know too many things, you know too many secrets. And
Right.
I don't know, then I watch Wonder Woman and I think she's just so like badass. And then, I don't know, superpower. Actually, you know what? I know which one. I would have the ability to breathe underwater.
Wow, that's really cool because you know what? Every time I'm at the beach, I go under and I'm like, get me back up, you know what I mean? Or cool.
Help me.
Yeah. like I was boogie boarding, and I think last year was the first time I ever done it, which is really crazy because my dad and my brother are really into that, and I usually just stay back and jump waves with my mom. No offense, mom, I love you still, but boogie boarding is really fun, and like doing it, it was really great until I almost drowned because like I
Oh,
got like
no.
wiped off the board and I was like under, and I'm like, why am I
And
not
then
going
you
back
got
up?
tumbled and everything.
Right. Well, no, finally I got back up. I think it's just because it was a really big wave. But if I had
Okay.
got stuck in like one of those, I forget what they're called, I probably would have been dead. Like I didn't have to like swim like to the side, but I was like,
Okay, I see. Well, it's a good thing you're
especially
okay.
since what? Sorry.
It's a good thing you're okay.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you for that. Like, but like it was crazy because it was like a really big wave, and I was like, for a second, I was like, whoa. I'm like, air, where are you?
I love
But
oxygen.
yeah, if I had that power, then I didn't have to worry about that. I'd be like,
Exactly.
okay, I'm under here and I'm fine. So
Yeah, I'm definitely a beach person. I'm definitely anything to do with, I think I've mentioned this as well. Like I love anything to do with water. So
yeah,
my mum always called me the mermaid child. So I I just love the ocean and things. So if I could actually be a mermaid that and breathe underwater, that would be great.
yeah, and
You
you
would
know
never
what?
see me again.
Like, well, the thing is, like, people like my age start to like not go in the water and they like sit there and like tan and stuff, and I'm like, I still want to swim. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't really want to tan. I want to go swim. So
I'm kind of like in between.
right.
Like I will be tanning and then I would go swim and then I, you know,
Yeah, I know back then I would like constantly be in the pool or constantly be in the ocean, but then I guess in the ocean I'm still kind of constantly in the ocean. But for the pool part, after a while I get out and I like eat some food or something, or like get like a popsicle and just like relax. Um, so before we end our interview, is there anything additional you would like to share with our viewers today that we did not cover, or is there any message you would like to share about your stories for others?
I think I would just like to share that, there's a reason we are born this way. There's a reason, I believe that there was a reason I was born this way to inspire those around me because I've met so many people this past month with conditions and, you know, just sharing each other's stories, it helps everyone feel more comfortable in their own skin because we are not alone in this. So there's a reason we are born this way. There's a reason we are born different, to be different and to do different. So that's all I have on that.
Well, thank you so much for volunteering your time to speak to me today, Kirstin. And I am so grateful for your willingness to share a story and help spread awareness about KTS and birthmarks. You are such an inspiring and strong person and absolutely more than a birthmark. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Have a great day further.
You too. Bye.
Bye.